We're gonna start the show this week with role play. All right.
All right, let's do it.
You're gonna be yourself.
Okay.
I'm going to be a radio host in Charlotte who has you on to talk about the big game with Charlotte on Thursday. And I'm talking to you about the Grizzlies, and I know nothing about basketball.
Okay.
And it's great to have Brevin Knight on the show with us. Brevin, this Ja Morant guy, I haven't followed basketball, and I know he was out last year, but what does he bring to the team?
Ja Morant is the life beat, the lifeline of this basketball team at this point. He's the lightning rod for this Grizzlies basketball team. And for those who enjoy entertainment, he is at the top of the list when you want to talk about entertainment basketball. But what sets him aside from others is that he also has the mindset of a point guard. And so the way that he thinks the game goes hand in hand with how well he plays the game physically. And so for those who have not seen him play, you are in for a treat with the pace at which he plays the game. But the highlights are in abundance, and that's just the way that he plays the game.
See, you were a lot nicer to that radio host because my answer would have started with, "Are you shitting me?"
Well, that's why it takes a long time for us to walk through all of the arenas because of how many people I have to say hello to and how few people you say hello to.
That's right. That's exactly right. Welcome to Night Court, everyone. I'm Rob Fisher, Brevin Knight alongside. Great to have you with us. If you're listening to the podcast, we thank you for listening. You can also watch the podcast at the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. And it's Night Court. Just go to YouTube and search Night Court, and there you go. We find it. And you can join us each and every week, and you can watch the podcast, listen wherever you get your podcasts as well. However you do it, we thank you for joining us. You can also catch us on Twitter. I'm at The Fish Nation. He's at Brevin Knight 22. The show is at Night Court 22 as well. Brevin, we got a lot to get into. The Grizzlies played a game. Played a game. We got a new offense. We got a win. We got Zach Edey. We got Ja Morant. We got another injury. It was cool to watch him play.
Listen, it was fun and it was heart stopping all at once. And it was fun to see the team back on the court. The pace. That was the one thing that was most notable. It was how fast they were wanting to get up and down the floor, even after made baskets, getting the ball out quickly. But you can see it was 5 out. Guys still mentally trying to just play basketball, but also play it the way that this new offense is tailored, which they'll continue to get better at. But of course, the scare with Ja Morant, the ball hitting a bounce pass, hitting his foot. And then he tweaks the ankle just enough. He goes off. It was nice to see him come back into the game, but then he leaves later on and lets the bench know that was enough for that game. But to hear later on that just a minor tweak, listen, he knew his preseason.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Screw enough. This. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
That's enough. That's enough. I tried it again. Not working. We'll get back to it again. But to know that it's nothing significant. Is positive for everyone.
All right, let's overreact and overanalyze everything. Okay, Zach Edey. What'd you think, Zach Edey? What is he going to be as an NBA player?
I still want to give me a little bit more time. The biggest thing is like if from our standpoint, you're going to accentuate positives no matter what. So the comfort with playing pick and roll basketball and him being a switch option was something that we saw in the game defensively. The speed of the game is something that he's going to have to catch up to because you think about it, didn't have a lot of time playing in summer league because of the injury, and so he didn't get a chance to play with guys who are hungry, starving, and everyone on the floor being top level players that are trying to work their way into the league. So I think getting adjusted to that, and then on the offensive end. It's going to be an adjustment for everyone on how do you also allow him some touches that are on the block because we saw in the second half, he played against, I think the kid's name is Sharp, the 7'5" guy for Dallas. He made one dribble to the middle, little post move with a nice jump hook. And it was like, man, like you see and know that he has those abilities. It's about just how you work it into the game. But I thought it was just a decent first game, but also one in which wasn't asked to do a lot. So I thought everyone was playing, thinking, and not just instinctually playing what you expect at this time.
Ja was good. Dez couldn't hit a shot, but whatever, that's fine. Dez had a couple of turnovers that were really bad too. Everybody did. The turnover problem, that was an issue, but whatever.
Yes.
You can fix that. There were two guys really that I was kind of intrigued by what we were going to see from them. And one of them is Santi Aldama, because I thought Santi would take a big step last year, and I don't necessarily think he did. So I'm hoping he takes that. I don't think he got worse. I just don't think he took another step in his game.
Right.
So I'm hoping he takes that step this year. I thought he played really well last night. I thought his passing was really good. His decisions when to shoot were good. His driving to the basket was good. I thought he showed a lot of really good things. And the other guy was Jake LaRavia. I'm rooting for Jake. He's got an opportunity here. Want to see him take advantage of it. And when we've seen Jake have the minutes and have healthy minutes, he's shown that he's deserved the minutes. So I thought he played pretty well too.
Yeah, and the thing that the Grizzlies are going to lean on, especially if they play at the pace that we saw last night, is they're going to lean on their depth. And those two guys, especially earlier for Jake, as you said, with the injuries to Vince and to Gigi, that means he moves up quickly in terms of on that depth chart. And both were good. I thought for Santi, we asked him on media day how much the Olympic experience was going to help him moving forward. And for him, I wanted to watch and see physically how was he going to play on the court? How was he going to continue with the physical play that they allow in FIBA in international basketball? But then how does that translate to our game? And then, but that's both ends on the offensive and defensive side, not accentuating so much when he does, or exaggerating when he does get hit, that then throws him off of moves and those type of things. And on the defensive side, how versatile he can be with guarding bigger players, because they're going to need for him to have some level of force on the defensive side. For Jake, listen, Jake, last year, I think the same can be said for him and Luke Kennard, that last year was good because they were able to open up their games and not be one-dimensional. For the two of them, they were the three-point shooters for the Grizzlies. But that boxes you into just doing that. And if you don't do it, then people feel as though you're not living up to what you should be doing. But we saw that both of them do more. And Jake really, I thought, found the footing and found the confidence to be able to show what he can do. And I thought that his first game was just continuing to pick up where he left off, making shots, being aggressive off the dribble, defensively being able to defend multiple positions, and he rebounded extremely well last year. And they're going to need those wing players to rebound this year.
I think watching last night's game, even with two guys out, I still feel like the bench is better than it was 2 years ago. I still believe that. And I think the point of it is 2 years ago, John Conchar was one of your first five off the bench. Now he's coming off the bench because two guys are out. I think that's how your depth has improved. And to me, it's nice to be able to go to your second five and know that you have a John Conchar, a guy that you can trust, is a guy that you can throw in there. He's probably not going to play 82 games this year. He's probably not going to play 60 games this year. But in the games that he's going to play, you know that you can trust him when he's out there.
Yeah, listen, we all know what Jitty does. And he knows who he is. He knows that he needs to make more shots when he's on the floor, but then do every little thing that the team needs to be, that they need done. He'll be just fine. The other kid that I want to watch is Wells. I want to just like there's something to his game in terms of versatility, be able to shoot, handle the ball, defensively, and he has a tenacity about him. And so I'm gonna with the preseason games, of course, and then even when G League times, of course he'll bounce back and forth, and if injury should happen, see what happens at this with the Grizzlies. But he's an intriguing player to me.
All right. Our first game is Thursday for us, for our television broadcast on Bally Sports. And we will have that for you Thursday night. No pregame show or postgame show. Will be on the air at 7 o'clock as the Grizzlies take on the Charlotte Hornets. Are you excited about getting back to the arena? The first preseason game I find is not that bad because you're back at the arena. You see everybody, the team's playing. Everything's kind of happy, you know. Maybe by the fourth quarter you're kind of done with it, but at least when it starts, you're in a good mood on that first one.
Well, I'm glad you're being honest because yes, the first preseason game we're extremely happy, and and for the reason that you said, a chance to see everyone in the arena again, do our routine. The good part about this is we have more time to stand around and talk because we don't have the pregame show.
That's right.
We still get there early. We still do, and so it'll be fun to do that. It'll be fun to just call a game again, because I tell you, we're not accustomed to going this long between working.
Right.
We ain't gotten accustomed to it, and so it'll be fun, and just to really see up close and personal what this team can be like is going to be enjoyable. But the biggest part, and to be honest with you, is seeing everybody. The game the game will take care of itself, whatever. But to see everybody in the arena again is really what I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely. Hey, Bovada, are you familiar with Bovada? It's a sports betting site. They put odds out for Coach of the Year in the NBA. Who do you think the odds-on favorite for Coach of the Year would be?
Odds-on favorite for Coach of the Year this year would be Spoelstra, as always.
Spoelstra
or Boston. What's the Boston coach?
Missoula.
Yeah.
4, 6, 8. Missoula's 8th. Spoelstra's 13th on the list.
Taylor Jenkins.
Tom Thibodeau at plus 850, meaning you put 100 down, you get 850 back. So he's 8.5 to 1, basically. Tom Thibodeau, Ime Udoka, and Taylor Jenkins, both second at 9 to 1. How about that? And then you have Nick Nurse, Jamal Mosley, Chris Finch. This is what's crazy about it. JJ Redick is ahead of Joe Mazzulla. Greg Popovich is down there. Budenholzer's down there. Carlisle's down there. Spoelstra, Atkinson, Green, Doc Rivers, Michael Malone. I mean, damn.
Well, because how
about a little respect?
Well, because I think it's not one of those things where it's like, well, how many games is your team gonna win? It's almost like your coaching job is who's gonna do the best coaching job, I guess. This would be my criteria: the best coaching job that puts their team in a position to be the best team.
Well, you look at the two. Tom Thibodeau's in New York, big media market, and
of course.
And if the Knicks are going to be one of the top 4 teams in the East, which they're projected to be, he could certainly win that. Ime Udoka, I guess if Houston's kind of like Oklahoma City from last year, but I don't really expect that from Houston to make that sort of jump.
That's a friend. He's a friend of the betting service. Friend of the show. People say a friend. People say a friend of the show, and I don't mean that in terms of he bets with them. I'm saying like somehow they like him.
They do. And Taylor Jenkins, it makes sense because you'd go from a team that won how many games? 20 something games to maybe winning 50. I mean, that would certainly be a huge jump.
A huge jump.
Nurse, because he's with a great team. Mosley, because the Magic could be one of those surprise teams this year as well. So you understand why the odds are what they are, and some of the guys maybe don't get, because like a guy like Michael Malone, what does Denver have to do for people to think Michael Malone did a great job? I mean, there's a good chance they're going to be the number 1 seed. I mean, what
Right. That's the same way you think about Missoula. It's like when people look at that roster, there's like, okay, like what is he doing? Great. Did he tell them? He gave him the green light to shoot 63s, and so we're gonna give him Coach of the Year because that also helped them win. It's like, I mean, that's all it can be. Like, and it's unfortunate because those guys do have an influence in order to make those teams continue to go, and a lot of that is they don't get in the way. Like that's a big part of being a good coach with those teams.
I mean, Spoelstra could win it every year.
With what he does with you would say the little as least as they have every year, and the guys that are making the major plays a lot of times aren't big name people.
Yeah.
Because we are still having injury issues. We've kind of vetted some of that this week on the Daily Grind with Jaren's hamstring, and it came out that it's just a low-level, low-grade strain, that opening night is not in question. And these are to be expected, right? Like, it comes with the beast. We're just, as a fan base, we're so gun-shy. We got that 1,000-yard stare. Like, war is hell, and it's been hell being a Grizzlies fan for the last couple of years.
You got the news that it's a light sprain of the hamstring, and that the quote was, opening night is not in jeopardy. But raise your hand between the two of us if that actually relieved all of your concerns.
No, it's still TBD.
Listen, TBD. I can't yet. I get it. But the difference in football and basketball is, it's like football, you expect bumps and bruises. Bumps and bruises if you're playing for the Memphis Grizzlies means 4 to 6 weeks.
Tune in to the $2 Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann every Friday at 3 p.m. only on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What I'm excited to see is Dane Danger. I'm excited to see him because he has been the story. Because we know PJ Haggerty is going to give you a fair amount. Tyrese Hunter is going to give you a fair amount. But I think you need somebody else to step in and be a source of offense on a consistent basis and a switch up. And I think Dane Danger can be that guy.
To me, the biggest thing is I just want to see what these first 5 guys on the floor look like together. Memphis needed to get guys in early. They needed to start working on this early in the offseason rather than right before the season started. Penny and the staff did a great job of that. These guys have been together, good competition. Let's see how those guys come out. It's a totally new lineup, totally different look team. So let's see what the last few months have been able to put together. Chemistry is one of those things that you can kind of feel, and you can't necessarily put your finger on it, but you can feel it. Yeah. Are they working with each other, or are they working against each other?
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, got some NBA stuff for you. James Harden, another great quote from James Harden. This was on Media Day. James Harden was asked about adjusting to the NBA over time throughout his career. And Harden's response was, "I'm the one the NBA has had to adjust to." Wow. How about a big old pat on yourself back?
I mean, when you're right, though, you're right.
Dude, he is right, isn't he? Here's the thing. I'm not a big James Harden fan. I'm not a huge fan. I don't like him. He bothered, and he really bothers me when he puts a 30 on you or 40 on you or 50 on you. But bottom line is, and I don't know when the prime of his career was, because unfortunately for James Harden, which as a hater is funny, there's no defining moment of James Harden's career.
Right.
But at James Harden's best, he's unguardable. Unguardable, and that great of a player. And so I guess he's right on this quote, huh?
Well, yeah, you think about it, the rules of the game. A lot of the rules of the game has stuff to do with him. The move to the basket in terms of or not rules, but a lot you just start more putting his arms down underneath. Not a lot of guards do it, but enticing guards every time you go to the basket, picking up the fouls, getting to the basket. The way that he shoots the step back three, you know it's coming. You still can't stop it. The way pat pat, and to get to the shots that he goes. I mean. He when he's rolling and he has got it going, he's one of the more unguardable players in the game.
Yeah. This is a question I don't know if you've ever been asked. Was there anyone you ever wanted to dunk on? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you haven't getting a big kick out of that one. I'm glad you've been waiting all day for that. Waiting all day to get that little jokey joke in. Oh, you got a joke. But yeah, I always wanted to dunk in the game. That's what I wanted to do. And it didn't have to be on anybody. I wanted it to be off of a missed shot, like on an offensive rebound, so that everyone's around or in the vicinity when it happened.
Did you ever dunk in practice and get overly excited?
Yes. and everybody be like, well, are you going to do it in a game? I'm like, no.
Man.
I did it now, though.
I won in college baseball. I never hit a home run in college baseball. But during batting practice one time, I hit one. I mean, it blew my mind how well I hit this ball. I mean, it was long gone. There was a huge fence in left field, and beyond that fence was a big parking lot. It landed like halfway in the parking lot. It stunned me to the point where when I hit it, I stared at it, watched it, started walking down to first base. This is batting practice.
Did you run the bases?
No, but I got back in the box, and our coach goes, "Get back in the box." I got back in the box, and he threw it at me.
See, those are some of those rules of a sport that you that those on the outside don't know. Like if you hit that, you're supposed to just get ready for the next one and just keep it. Like to me, I'm like, wow, we got to at least talk about it for a minute.
I don't even care he threw at me. It was amazing.
Right. We got nothing else to do. You're only going to throw the ball 50 miles and hit another one. I mean, we could have a minute to enjoy it.
Yeah.
The most stationary sport that there is.
Well, Victor Wembanyama was asked who he wants to dunk on. All right. And he can dunk on anybody, right? He said, I want to dunk on the best defenders in the league. That would be the biggest challenge. So that would be Rudy Gobert. I think Kawhi Leonard. Also, I'd say Rudy, Kawhi, and the third would be Jonathan Isaac. I think he's a really underrated defender. It's kind of boring, right?
Yeah, I mean, Kawhi's not going to challenge you at the rim.
Right, the Kawhi one. I was like, Gobert, all right, he's big, makes sense, I guess. But
right, and then he's like the elder statesman in French basketball. So it's like that'd be cool if I can also just they get a poster of me just swinging my all on top of them. But I mean, when you're 9 feet tall, I also think that is a big deal who you dunk on. Like you should dunk on everybody at some level because like literally you're just down. He's just dunking down. There's no more like going towards the basket. This is just how high am I going to be above before I dunk down on it. I mean, it's so. I would love.
Ja was asked this week, and he said his answer was Zach Edey. Great answer.
He's never going to come out on the second team, though.
He's never going to come out and say who the hell he wants to dunk on.
Listen, I remember those days in practice back when I was playing, and we'd be like, "Hey, coach, I want to play on the second team today, just to play against the other starters, to talk shit and try to beat them as best we could."
Right. That's kind of cool.
That's like a dunk on Zach Edey, though. Go play on the other team.
Coach, put me on the third team today.
I want the penny.
Edey.
Put me on the pennies team.
The penny
so you know you got the whatever
you got blue, white,
and then you got the pennies. Put me on the pennies.
Put me on the penny team. Tyrese Maxey. You know, all players this time of year, they all talk about what their biggest adjustments and what they worked on in the offseason, right?
Right.
Tyrese Maxey was asked what he worked on in the offseason and what was his biggest adjustment. He said, the biggest thing for me is that I changed my hair and I can see now. He said, I couldn't see before. So if I got in the paint, I was just shooting it. But now the hair's not in my face, so I can see. And the question is, Elfrid Payton, why did you ever cut your hair, dog?
He should cut his hair from the jump. Maybe that was the problem. Right from the beginning. It's just, but the thing is, I mean, that's why so many people will put him back. See, his, I don't know if they were ever long enough to be able to put back into a ponytail. I think the way he had his, they were only that long, so he couldn't do anything, couldn't put them anywhere. And so, it definitely would interfere. But how about that if you play? How about if you got to be a top 15 NBA player you couldn't see?
Right.
What the hell is going to happen this year with him?
Right. Well, wasn't that the thing last year? Embiid couldn't see last year, right? They got a lot of guys that can't see.
Yeah, something in foot. But I'll tell you this much. Him go out there and get off to a slow start, he'll be like Jimmy Butler with some type wig on and get those things back and act like he can't see again. Yeah. I bet you he'll play with a wig or something on, with a braids wig on, so he can act like he can't see again.
Keep an eye on that this year, everybody.
That is watch and see his hair because it can't grow that fast.
You don't get this on NBA preview shows. Tyus Jones, our old friend Tyus Jones, is starting for the Suns.
Oh, listen, that is huge for Phoenix, and I know everybody's like, "Oh, brother, you said because you're a point guard." I'm like, I said because it's true. You need somebody out there to be the thinker for the other guys. You can't just have 5 guys that are on the floor that are all go-getters. And if I'm not getting it, then I'll help you get it. You need somebody out there who says, your turn, this turn, talk to your guys, get on guys, and a guy that the other guys can respect, and nobody better than Tyus. And so if he's able to stay healthy throughout the year, then it puts Phoenix in a different mindset for me this year than they were last year when you were telling me that Devin Booker was going to be their quasi point guard. I said, there's no way in the world they're going to be anywhere near a challenging team. They can be a challenging team now.
Yeah. All right, WNBA. Liberty beat the Aces. The Aces, let me tell you something. The Aces, they had to give them everything they got, and it just wasn't good enough. In game 3, they kind of ran away in that second half, but in games 1, 2, 4, I mean, they gave everything they got. It wasn't enough. That's how good New York is.
And the thing with New York is they hit you with so many different people, and you had no chance. And as you said, with Vegas, there would be those times where it would be like, okay, this is because you have the aces of the past, the last 2 championship teams. That's when your mind. But then the Liberty was just like, we don't care about what was. We're talking about what is. And the what is the Liberty. And the way that they were able to run away with it to finish that game in Vegas was, that was big time. That was big time.
It was cool. I think if I bought a jersey, a WNBA jersey, I think I'd get Sabrina. I like the New York jersey, and I'm a big fan of Sabrina. She's one of my favorite players.
I didn't. Someone is good because she went to Oregon, didn't she?
Yes.
That's right. So I remember when I remember that, and you're like, oh, she's been good, but then having Brianna Stewart there, it's like, oh, maybe it's gonna be her time. But it was 100% Sabrina's her gig. And she went in and said when they got done with the 2 wins in New York, she was like, it's not over. We got to go. We're gonna go to Vegas. We got to go to Vegas and win, and that's what we're gonna do. I was like, okay, I hear you.
There's no good time to do this show because things are happening every day, including the Connecticut and Minnesota. They're playing tonight, shortly after we're done recording here. But that series tied at 2 games apiece. It'll end tonight. It's in Minnesota. I'm taking the Lynx. I've become a big fan of Cynthia Williams, the point guard for the Minnesota Lynx.
Well, I'm a fan of Collier for the Lynx, and mine is because I saw her play in the Olympics, and I hadn't heard of her. And I watched her play in the Olympics, and I was like, she's like a silent assassin. Like, and you watch them play when they play, it's like, look at her numbers, but the way that she scores is shoots it from the perimeter, puts it on the floor, posts up, plays big, plays down. I mean, she is a work of art out there on the floor.
Yeah, Minnesota against New York. If that's the way it happens, I'm taking New York. I guess, right? They're the best team.
Yeah. I mean, this year they are by far the best team, and I think the size discrepancy may catch up to Minnesota with New York.
Yeah. All right. NFL. You want to say something about your Giants?
The G-Man. Listen to this. Really, if you think about this, think about it. 2-3, and they lost one game because our kicker got hurt and couldn't kick, and so they had to just keep going for everything all the way to 4th down. And when they did score, no extra points. That was against Washington, and then they against Dallas, they did everything right, just only kick field goals every single time, and just happened to lose that game, and so. You think one of those go your way? This is an entirely different feeling, and hopefully, what they learned from this week was you don't have to do everything and throw the ball to neighbors every time. Like look to the other people and then big play him, because we've fallen so low with just every time. So it's good to see Slayton catch the ball again. That was fun. Hadn't seen that this year. And Danny Dimes was running around making plays, and defensively they looked good. And so, hey, we had a great field goal block. That was just tremendous. And the ball just happened to bounce their way. But
yeah, it did.
Hey, you take a win. You take a win, we can get a win, especially when you're a G-man.
Yeah, Robert Saleh fired.
They fired him.
They fired him today.
Listen, I'll tell you, this is even more.
He was escorted out of the building.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm going to root so much harder against the Jets. I'm going to just keep rooting hard against the Jets. Every week, I hope they lose every single stinking game.
Brevin, how about our Vanderbilt Commodores, man?
How about Vandy?
That was something else, right? Anchored down, everybody.
Oh, get out of here, Bama! Coming here disrespecting us, acting like we're not on your level. Well, guess what? You walk out with the L.
It's amazing. It's still hard to fathom the idea that Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Alabama, the number 1 team in the country, Alabama, not just Alabama, the number 1 Alabama lost at Vanderbilt.
In today's world. Think about today's college world.
Yeah. And the fans carried the goalposts out. I think the Alabama fans had to help. So that was nice of them.
You think some people like at about halftime just was like the word spread around? And
we'll help you guys.
They know it's like they're gonna win. They might win, and people came to support. You know, a lot of people was like, I ain't going to that game. They're gonna blow us out.
I don't know. I don't. A lot of people don't come. I mean, Alabama filled the stadium, so there weren't a lot of people there. That's why I didn't think they'd be able to get the goalposts down, but they did. I was afraid. Yeah, I was afraid. We need more people. All right. Baseball playoffs we don't have time for, but go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Yeah, go Mets. Speaking of, how about a toast?
We're playing right now.
How about a toast to the Mets?
Yes.
Toast to the Mets. Just winning on the road and just taking care of business. And the polar bear just continues to take care of business.
A home run in the second inning of the game that they're playing tonight. And this would be game 3.
Yeah.
At home. He hit a home run early.
Yeah. Pete Alonso getting the job done for the Mets. Also, shout out to the Royals winning at Yankee Stadium, tying that series up at 1. Shout out to the Tigers for tying that series up at 1 against Cleveland. Shout out to the Padres for tying that series up at 1 and having a little bad blood and firing a ball in the dugout. And let's go.
I saw that. I said, look at this. This is baseball time for me, baby. This is when I'm all into baseball.
This is when it matters. This is when every pitch matters. And it's great. So shout out to all of them. Also shout out to and a toast to the National Hockey League, which gets underway.
It started tonight. Yeah, I saw that today.
Yeah, today it got started. So shout out to the NHL. Look forward to the NHL playoffs more than anything.
That's the one league that never stops playing. It's literally a 10-month season.
They start before. I can't believe they start before the NBA.
That's what I'm trying to say. It has to be
like
close
3
to
weeks.
It has to be close to a 10-month, a 9. It has to be at least a 9-month season. It seems
crazy.
like,
yeah,
like they're like get on the ice again.
That's
skate,
impressive.
Boy, skate.
That's impressive, and a toast to Vanderbilt. I mean, my goodness, just amazing. Anchor down, y'all. That's how we're going to leave you today. All right, that'll do it for us here today. Thanks for joining us here on Night Court. We appreciate it. And again, if you're listening, you can also watch this episode and each episode at the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Just search Night Court and you'll be able to find it. And you can watch each and every week. But thanks for listening as well. And for Brevin, I'm Fish. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week here on Night Court.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Night Court podcast. If you enjoyed Rob and Brevin, hit that like button, subscribe to the Bluff City Media YouTube channel, and enjoy the content. We will see you back here next time.